Hello all, we reached the end. Episode 8 and 9 of Agatha All Along released together. It was a trial getting here, but turns out there was a nice idea in there, sadly wrapped in a bounty of lame and naff. Inconsistent motivations and characters who flip at a toss of a coin, and a moment that evoked horror films from the 80s and 90s, and some ropey acting, unfortunately. As usual, to do a deeper dive I have to go through it, but much quicker than the drawn out episode I can assure you. So, spoilers ahead. The episode starts with Alice waking up to find Rio waiting, as I'd surmised, and she realises she's dead. Complains a bit, but accepts it. I have to say, Plaza's delivery in this scene is really just quite weird. Agatha's back on the road looking shaken, and Rio turns up in her death persona. Odd that Rio turns up straight away rather than sorting out Lilia's death this time. And Audrey Plaza is terrible. I guess her repertoire only goes as far as quirky and sarcastic, or sarcastic and quirky, because I don't know what she was trying to do here. There's some to and fro during which Rio reveals she's after Billy as he's an aberration, which I could have told you, and can't be allowed to find his brother, but she can't take him as he would just possess another corpse. Billy has to give himself to her. I mean, he isn't real and doesn't have a soul, but okay. Agatha agrees to make that happen in return for a very, very long life and not to see Rio again. Meanwhile, there's some chat on the stairs between Jen and Billy regarding Lilia's sacrifice before they join Agatha on the road. They continue along until Agatha trips over her shoes. Turns out they've gone full circle with no prize in sight. There's a moment where we're supposed to feel something where they focus on the dead member's shoes, but no, nothing. Agatha bitches, Billy puts his shoes on because he no longer respects the road or something, and I've no idea why they took them off in the first place, to be honest. Suddenly he wakes in a body bag in a drawer. Breaking out, Agatha and Jen arrive similarly encased. They're in a version of Agatha's basement, but it's all shiny and clinical. It's the Green Witch task, but they don't have a Green Witch. Through some rambling, it's revealed that Agatha bound Jen when she was being a witch for hire. So, in an irritating and drawn-out scene, Jen casts a spell to unbind herself and disappears. For some reason, Agatha decides to help Billy leave by helping him find his brother, in another very stretched-out scene. Who knows why she decided to do this? More of that flip-flopping? They make a connection and have to find a dead body to put him in. They find a lad who's being bullied and drowns. Billy puts Tommy in him whilst asking Agatha if he killed the boy who died. Yes, Billy, you did. Because people can be revived from drowning, so nice work, more murder for you. He disappears and Agatha kind of resigns herself to dying, opening her locket with a lock of her son's hair inside. And there's a seed or something, which she plants in the crack created during the seance with Billy. Did I miss something? Because I have no clue where that came from, and there's no explanation that I noticed in the show. A plant grows, and she runs as the room collapses. Why? Don't know. Drama, maybe? She emerges into her front garden and Rio attacks her. There's actually some nice horror imagery reminiscent of 80s and 90s horror films. And just as Rio is winning, Billy arrives, blasting her away. Asking Agatha not to take it all, he uses his magic on her. As usual, she absorbs it, but does indeed stop before he drained. Cue Rio again, who knocks Billy flying. Some meaningless flashing lights, not sure what was going on. Rio says that only one of them lives, because they can't beat death at the end of the day. Billy volunteers and Agatha says, "You heard him, take him." She walks away, but Billy shouts her son's name, so she returns, kisses Rio, and dies. Again, why? There are so many "why is this happening" moments in this show. And here's another one. Rio lets Billy go. Didn't she need to get him? Suddenly she's not bothered? But he's an aberration. He's upsetting the cosmic balance or something because he's a soulless fiction using a dead teenager as a meat puppet. Why does she just let him go? Billy goes home and suddenly becomes aware that many of the items in his room are a reflection of the road. I mean, they're not unless you really stretch it. He realises he may have created the road, reinforced during flashback memories of stuff that Agatha said. Cue Agatha's voice and him recoiling in shock. End of episode 8, on to episode 9. It opens with a heavily pregnant Agatha about to give birth. Death comes, but Agatha begs Rio to let the child live. Rio agrees, but says she can only give time. The child is born, and Agatha goes on a murder spree with babe in arms. As the child grows, she continues murdering a multitude of remarkably diverse witches. Seriously, unrealistically diverse given the historical context. Worse still, she's using her son as a lure. On one of their walks to the next murder spree, her son starts making up a song, which begins with Down the Winding Road, but as they sing together becomes the song we know. The years pass, the killing continues despite her son's discomfort with it, but helping her anyway. Finally, she uses him as bait, getting him to sing the song which draws the attention of witches, but this time he doesn't want to be bait and leaves. Agatha follows. There's a chat, but she's not angry, and as night falls to go to sleep, only for Nicholas to be awoken by death arriving to take him. I think we're supposed to feel something again, but it's kind of difficult given that she's a murdering psycho. Agatha wakes racked with grief for about 3 seconds, buries him, then immediately takes advantage of a witch looking for the witch's road, because that's now entered into myth. As with a teen, Agatha gets her to assemble a coven. Then they sing the song, as happened in episode 2, and nothing happens, because now we know the witch's road doesn't exist. Agatha goads them, they attack her, and she drains them. This scene is repeated through the centuries until we revisit episode 2, when, much to Agatha's shock, the door appears. So she knows the witch's road doesn't exist. Back to Billy's bedroom, Agatha is a ghost and Billy realises he created the road, much like Wanda created her sitcom reality. Oddly, I'd noticed the Yellow Brick Road toys in his bedroom and the similarity in previous episodes, but dismissed it, so I didn't really click. But it doesn't really make much sense anyway. Billy couldn't have created all of the stuff because he wouldn't have experienced it to know. So did he create the road to have a mind of its own, to be a real thing, not just manipulated by his thoughts? But it must have been manipulated by his thoughts because Agatha, Jen and Lilia survived when he tried to kill them. So did he subconsciously save them? How did he know about Agatha's mother to create a ghost, or was he low-level mind-reading to draw on their own experiences? Lots more whys. See, the bit about the road never being real and a song Agatha made up with her son is quite nice, and Billy creating the road is also a cool idea, but it doesn't quite hang together. Billy is horrified that he might have killed everyone, but Agatha assures him that he didn't, and that she was planning on killing them all anyway. Except that wasn't going to happen because Lilia stopped them from using their powers on her, so yes, Billy, you are responsible for Sharon, Alice, Lilia, the 7, all dying. Not to mention the lad whose body you stole to install your brother. Agatha reassures him that he did save someone, and we see Jen climb from the earth outside Westview and fly off. Why was she in the ground? Who the hell knows? They go to Agatha's house and Billy tries to send Agatha to the great beyond using the locket because suddenly, even though she actually saved him, now he hates her again. It turns out she doesn't want to cross over because she can't face her son. Would this be the son you used and who willingly helped you murder witches for years? I'm really not sure he'll be that bothered, love. She ghosts the locket out of his hand and suddenly all's forgiven. Besties. Buddy movie to follow. He seals the road and marks it with the names of the witches he killed. And it's time to start looking for that other soulless meat puppet. As I say, the idea of the song is nice, as is Billy manifesting the road. Though that leaves many holes, so I'm not sure it totally works. It's also a little too reminiscent of the "it was all a dream" writing trope. It could be argued that all the rip-off bits were there because it came out of Billy's mind. Kudos to the writers if that was their intention. But we're still left with the hours of lameness, poor characterisation, motivations and morality. Take Billy and Agatha. They chopped and changed sides more often than a wrestler in WWE. Agatha's murder sprees through the century make no sense. If it was all about power, she'd have become the most powerful witch in history, but she wasn't. She didn't even do much with the power she had. She's supposed to care about her son, but she just used him, even after he died, and very, very quickly after he died. Her character literally makes no sense. Billy is as bad. Yes, Billy, you're a murderer and an asshole. They paint him as if butter wouldn't melt and try and frame him as being moral and heroic, but he murders people and steals bodies. Sure, he's sad about it for about 2 seconds, then gets over it. He offers to sacrifice himself, then manipulates Agatha into sacrificing herself instead. What's the message? In fact, what's the moral? What's the message? Or the journey here? This was an introduction to Wiccan, but this hasn't created a solid base for him. They've done the same as the Falcon and Winter Soldier did with Sam. Why should I care about this little psycho? Like much of modern Marvel, they haven't created a new hero. They've created a new villain. And not one I'm that bothered to watch again. So did you think the road reveal was good? Or did it not sit right with you? Did it tie things together and make more sense of what you'd watched up to that point? I'm not sure it improved it, to be honest with you. I don't think anything could have improved that. Was it worth trawling through the bad to get to that? Again, not for me. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe if you've enjoyed the video. I would appreciate it. And until the next time, peace out.